musket that is a muzzle-loading weapon. Smoothbore means that most of these men are carrying either 75 caliber Brown Bess muskets or 69 caliber Charleville French muskets, and it's basically firing a 3/4 of an inch lead ball down a smooth pipe. If you look at an equivalent in a modern weapon, think of a 12-gauge shotgun, a 12-gauge shotgun firing a solid projectile. There's no rifling. So with the low velocity of the black powder charge, these weapons only have a range of 100 yards. That's really the killing distance, 100 yards. So if you think about it, in the 18th century, they're fighting battles on fields that are the distance we play football or soccer on. You're talking 100 yards. Now, these weapons are slow loading. The American forces, if they're using Baron Steuben's manual of arms, takes 13 steps to reload and fire of a musket. Everything has to be poured down the barrel. And they're very temperamental because they pour into a pan at the rear of the musket. And that pan is supposed to have a priming charge. It was the state-of-the-art ignition system. The only way to make this an effective weapon is to actually fire it in a volley. Mass your troops together in a line and have them, so you're throwing a lot of lead in one wave at the enemy. Professional soldiers like the redcoats that are marching up the road right now, they could get off 4 shots a minute. That's 1 shot every 15 seconds. And if you think about a British regiment of 500 men marching up in 2 ranks and firing together, that's 500 rounds coming at the enemy, and then 15 seconds later, 500 rounds at the enemy, and 15 seconds later, 500 rounds at the enemy. You're basically training your men to become a human machine gun. So when engaged, they would load and fire on command as quickly as possible. Washington trained the Continental Army to do the same professional quality and use the same weaponry. Now, again, you're fighting at a distance of approximately 100 yards. If you think back to when you might have been in gym class and you did a 100-yard dash or a 50-yard dash, it doesn't take a lot of time if you got a 15-second reloading period for somebody to close the distance and attack the enemy. So because these weapons firing black powder are unreliable and they're slow loading and they're inaccurate, you had to have a weapon that worked all the time as a backup, and that was the bayonet. All the regular soldiers are carrying a 17-inch long socket bayonet that fits over the muzzle of the gun and turns it into a 6-foot long spear. And throwing steel always works. So the tactic, especially in the British Army, was march up, lay down fire at the enemy, and as soon as the enemy gets to waver, go in and finish the job with cold steel. As a matter of fact, it looks as if the British regulars are moving forward in a classic bayonet charge. The front ranks have presented their bayonets. British regulars are laying down accurate volleys as well they're trained to do. If you watch both the Americans and the British soldiers, when they fire, they get the command to prime and load. They reach into their leather cartridge boxes and pull out a paper cartridge. They bite to the bottom of the barrel so the barrel doesn't explode. Put your ramrod back, you put your musket on your shoulder, and then you can cock the musket and be ready to fire. Or keep the musket on your shoulder and maneuver accordingly. And here comes British light infantry up the brow of the hill, having flanked the American position. From here I can see that the light infantry that has flanked the position are the King's 8th Regiment of Foot. And they are joined by members of the Indian Department, looks like Butler's Rangers, Tudor's Corps. And they really have the American position in a precarious state here. But again, the only real effective musketry are firing and volley. If you were hit by a musket ball at over 100 yards, you were just unlucky. And when you hear the stories of Colonel Prescott at the Battle of Bunker Hill getting on top of the fortifications and saying, "Don't fire until you can see the whites of somebody's eyes at 30 yards. And at 30 yards, you can hit them with a musket." And that is why the British suffered so many casualties at Bunker Hill, because the Americans held their fire. Forces flanked the American position. The heroic 2nd Rhode Island Regiment is trying to make a stand, but they've been flanked by the King's 8th Regiment of Foot. When you can get a closer look at the American forces, you can see the difference in the muskets being carried by the Continental forces. They are armed both with French Charleville muskets, which have iron bands on the barrel. They're 69 caliber. They're also armed with British Brown Bess muskets that the brass furniture on the weapon. The French Charlevilles were the state-of-the-art weapon during the American Revolution, and the United States adopted that style and engineering when we first began producing our own weapons in the Federal period at the Springfield Armory. Look at a Springfield musket from the 1790s. It looks just like a French Charleville with bands. The difference is American ingenuity made it all interchangeable parts. So the Industrial Revolution came first to the weapons industry in Springfield, Massachusetts, in building the first muskets for the American Army in the 1790s. American officer is having end of the day. So it looks as if the Crown has expanded its control in Rhode Island beyond the Newport vicinity, and it looks like all of you will be soon taking the oath of allegiance to the British Crown and singing "God Save the King." It looks like the Crown forces are preparing to either rebuild the redoubts or possibly loot the camp. Again, this is only a reconnaissance force. Now, for those of you who have not heard the schedule earlier,
that French General Rochambeau and the rest of his hypocrisy is supposed to support the rebel cause. From what I see, they don't have a very good fort for us to defend or take. We're taking this wagon and the supplies back to our ships, and we will indulge ourselves in the rum and the fine Madeira that we have found here. And let this be a lesson to you. If you ever cross paths with the Crown forces of His Majesty, you will be dealt with harshly if you are found to be guilty of breaking the law. Do you understand?
Looks as if the Continental forces have regrouped and are coming back to see if they can recapture their supplies and retake the position.
Quickly, boys! Quickly! That's the line.
They're coming out with great discipline and forming line.
Take it! Fire!
And notice, especially with the American forces, after being in combat for so long, you're seeing more and more misfires of the muskets. The black powder is hygroscopic. It absorbs moisture from the air, and it turns into a thick, gooey mass called fouling. And that fouling is eventually going to clog the touch hole. It may even clog up the weapon so much you can't even get a musket ball down the barrel. And you'll see that both the American forces and the Crown forces are going to be having more and more misfires just because of the consistency of black powder. As a matter of fact, if they pull the trigger and they only get a flash at the back of the musket, it's called a flash in the pan. And we all use that terminology even today in the 21st century. Oh, it's just a flash in the pan. It's not a cooking accident. It comes directly from the 18th century when your gun wouldn't go off because the touch hole was clogged. So next time somebody uses that term, it's a flash in the pan, you know where it actually came from. There's also other things that come from 18th century military terminology that we use every day, like lock, stock, and barrel. The lock is the flint lock, the stock is the wing part of the musket, and the barrel is the metal tube. So they say, oh, let's pack up lock, stock, The drummer has started to beat the parlay, a signal for a truce. In the 18th century, warfare was in some ways much more civilized, and in this case, the Crown Force commander is meeting the American commander and exchanging proper military etiquette. And so the Crown Forces are going to get to retire to their lines at Newport, and the Americans are reoccupying their fortification. So I guess General Rochambeau and General Washington will get to meet here later after all. The men have mourned arms, and the Scottish piper has played Balmora in honor of Queen Elizabeth.